Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Box Seats with Alex B. Smith and Bob Sullivan. Alex B. Smith of the Sports Memo, KillianVegas.com. Alex, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Glad we were finally on the air now. We had some technical issues beforehand, but had everything all worked out. So doing good. You know, just looking forward to another weekend of football. Got hockey on deck. And the weather's nice, not cold yet, not too hot, so everything's going pretty well. How about yourself, Bob?
I'm doing well. Just starting a new week. 3 more days, and it's over with, so hopefully those go fast. I got a question. Do you bet hockey preseason?
No. I haven't seen the lines up lately in the last couple of days, but you could take the same approach and do a lot of research and stuff, but hockey is one of those sports like baseball where the score truly doesn't matter. It's all about just getting lineups done in order. No one cares if anyone scores or not in preseason hockey. So it's strictly for the coaches. So it's not worth betting.
Yeah, we discussed preseason football. I wasn't sure if preseason hockey was in your wheelhouse. Yeah, I feel like that's for the true degenerate gambler is preseason hockey.
Yeah, I mean, you could take I've seen some numbers that just kind of seemed pretty odd considering how preseason hockey operates, where it's like, all right, maybe there is value here, but it's really nothing more than just getting a good price on a coin flip. So, I mean, if you wanted to play preseason hockey, wanted to bet on it, you could basically look at just taking a giant underdog, and it's going to be pretty much about 50-50.
Well, let's get on to the NFL, and college football. NFL wise, this week, told people to bet on the Jets. That was a hit. Yep. I suggested the Patriots. That wasn't at 1. That wasn't that big of a risk. But what were some things that caught your eye this weekend in the NFL?
Well, it's been another week of overreactions. I think there's some things to be worried about, but not too many. I mean, it is still early in the season. I think the biggest struggle, or shock, I should say, would be the Indianapolis Colts coming out flat at home last night. Turnovers galore. Then you have, Pagano going out and calling out Andrew Luck and saying that he's got to, he's been dealing with these issues with the offensive line for years now, and that he should be comfortable with the fact that their O-line is pretty terrible. So it'll be interesting to see where things go from here. Pagano could be on the hot seat if they don't turn things around quickly. I mean, everybody in the world had the Colts favorite to win the division and make a legitimate run in the AFC. So starting out 0-2 is pretty shocking.
Did you think that was more of a shot at Luck or more of a shot at the front office? I took it as more at Grigson.
I don't know. I think it's a mix of both. And I don't think, a lot of people were saying that it was a shot at Luck and that it was something personal that there might be, as if there's some kind of rift in the locker room or whatever. I don't think that. I think it's just more of a shot at Luck in the sense of, hey, you are the face of this franchise. You're the team leader. You got to get this, tightened up just as much as we as a coaching staff do. So I think that's what Pagano's motive was in saying those things in the presser yesterday.
Did he? I thought he was on the hot seat just going into the season. A third loss. I see him getting. I don't see him making it through the season. I just don't. I don't see Pagano making it through the season. I see them regretting not hiring Bruce Arians.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, well, if you look, the next 3 games are division games. So, yeah, we'll know in the next 2 or 3 weeks, how this team's gonna fare the rest of the way. Because if they lose, if they lose 2 of the next 3, yeah, you could pretty much, call it a wrap on the season, and we probably will see Pagano get moved. And then who knows what we'll see from the Colts, down the line from a betting perspective as well, because obviously the books are going to adjust for the possibility of if there's some turmoil, especially if there's a coaching change. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure. Going to Tennessee, a good Tennessee team they're playing this week. That's a big game for them to, have a shot at beating the team that's been dominating that division for such a long time.
Have you seen any bets yet on 0-2 teams possibly making the playoffs? And if so, is there any 0-2 teams that you would take in a prop bet like that?
I haven't seen any actual numbers per se, but if there were, looking at the 0-2 teams, I think the only one that I would really say would, be able to make some noise and come back and make a postseason run would actually be the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though they've looked really bad, if you look at what's shaping up in the NFC East, I mean, the Cowboys, no Tony Romo, no Dez Bryant, possibly no Jason Witten this week. So that's going to be really tough. The Redskins, a couple of fluky games against some mid-range teams, so their 1-1 is a bit flawed. They should be 0-2 in my opinion. Giants are 0-2. They've got a lot of issues as well. So I could see where the Eagles could kind of come back and once they get things kind of settled in, they got a good game this week against the Jets. Then after that, they are on the road again against the Redskins. So the next 2 weeks will be big for them if they're going to make a run and get back into near playoff contention later this year.
On the college football side of thing, actually, well, one more thing on the NFL. Mm-hmm. If you had to bet, who do you think's the first coach to go?
First coach fired. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna. I honestly don't think we're gonna see Pagano get moved. I think the Colts will bounce back. So I don't think we'll see Pagano get fired. In the middle of the season, I don't think we'll see any mid-season changes. But as far as say end of the year, just at any point, I think Marvin Lewis at some point gets moved. I know the Bengals are 2-0. And they're competitive. They always look great in the regular season, but are we going to see enough from them to where they can actually finally get all over the hump and make a playoff run? I'm not sure. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bengals get into the playoffs, lose their first game, and then Marvin Lewis will finally be out in Cincinnati.
It's funny. I don't see any of these 0-2 teams, any of these coaches getting fired right now. With the whether it be the Giants, Eagles, Colts. I just don't see any because they're all pretty steady Eddie teams as far as wait till the season's over, then make a decision. Chip Kelly, I feel like it's way too early to give up on his scheme. I mean, the running game has been god awful. There's no way that stays the course as far as it being that bad. And Sam Bradford, I mean, maybe a quarterback change is in store, needs to happen. I thought Sam Bradford would be a nice piece there. That is yet to be seen, but maybe Mark Sanchez is the answer, which is surprising to say.
I was really stunned that the Eagles didn't go out and draft a quarterback. I get that Chip Kelly wanted to have someone with, veteran presence in the position, but I think the fact that everything is so different from what we're seeing from most NFL teams, the way the Eagles run their offense, I think it would behoove Kelly to go ahead and draft a young quarterback and mold him into that. That's why I really thought obviously that Mariota, he would make moves and move up and grab him because of his familiarity with the system at Oregon. So I think that's what we'll probably see from the Eagles, regardless of how their season, unless they win a Super Bowl. I think, which I don't plan them seeing them winning one. But I think we'll see, that's the change we'll see in the offseason, is that they'll actually go and draft a quarterback and decide to groom him into what they're looking for as far as that position with this offense.
As far as good picks from last week, what did you have?
I had absolutely nothing. I went 0-4-1 between college and pro. This is probably one of the worst weeks I've had in quite a while. Just some bad beats. And on the NFL side, I had the Houston Texans. I knew that Mallett would get the start over Hoyer. I knew that there were some injuries on Carolina's defensive side, and I got the +3 with the Texans. Carolina virtually tried to give the game away late in this ball game, and Ryan Mallett just kept making mistake after mistake after mistake as they were driving in Carolina's red zone. They ended up losing that game by a touchdown. It's a game they should have easily been able to take into overtime if they had a decent quarterback. College football, they completely missed the boat with the Troy, Wisconsin total. Wisconsin just decided. I mean, you have these games, these non-conference games in college football early, where a good school, they look ahead in their schedule and they say, you know what, we don't have to play at 100% to beat this team. And Troy came out looking pretty good. They marched down the field early, got a touchdown, and I'm thinking, okay, well, they keep this close. Obviously, Wisconsin's going to want to put it away, late in the second half. That wasn't the case. After that touchdown, Troy pretty much looked flat the rest of the way. Wisconsin could name their score, and they only ended up putting up 28 points. So that was way short of the total of 57. So it happens to the best of us. I've been having a hot run in NFL before last week. College football has been fairly up and down, but now with conference play, that's kind of more of my strength. Finding a lot of conference trends and seeing where teams are looking ahead and any letdown spots that are possible. So I'm hoping to bounce back with this week in college football. I got a couple of plays already circled, sent out NFL player as well. So
NFL wise, any injuries? Well, Tony Romo especially, but any injuries this week that are going to impact how you bet this week?
Oh yeah, well, like as I mentioned earlier with Dallas, Jason Witten is very weird. 2 sprained ankles and a sprained knee. That's just a very, very odd combination of injuries to have, and so he might miss out. He's on 136 games straight that he's played. He's one of their Iron Men in the NFL, and so it would be huge for him to end that streak and not play. But you got the Cowboys starting Brandon Weeden against a very good Atlanta team, and you got 3 of the Cowboys' best offensive players not in this game. So I went ahead and laid the 1.5 already with Atlanta because that number is just going to keep going up and up. I'm guessing it'll close around 3.5 by before the weekend by Sunday. So I went and got that number early. But and then you look at obviously the Bears losing Jay Cutler, as bad as he can be at times. It's still a downgrade when you have to play.
When you have to play any quarterback from Notre Dame, it's a downgrade.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And Jimmy Clausen looked so bad in the rest of the game against Arizona last week, and it's like, well, it's hard to weigh. It's like, did he look that bad because he had to come in the middle of it and he was playing against a fairly good Cardinal defense, or is it just that he's really as bad as we've seen over the last years, and this is just the end of the line for him? So we'll find out for sure how bad he is, because now the Bears have to go into CenturyLink Field and play the Seattle Seahawks, who are foaming at the mouth to get a win. No one expected them to be 0-2. So it's going to be tough. And you look at the spread, 14.5, 15 points, favored to Seattle. That's a huge number to lay in the NFL, but I'm definitely not going to take the points with the Bears this weekend.
College football. What caught your eye this week?
Well, my Northern Illinois Huskies looked really good against the number
Yeah.
one team in the country in Ohio State. It's a shame they couldn't pull out that victory, but I mean, the fact that their defense was playing strong enough to hold. I mean, 5 turnovers for Ohio State. Now we got the quarterback controversy all over again in Columbus of should it be Cardale Jones or JT Barrett starting this weekend. Um, I mean, you got to give the Huskies some credit. Their defense is pretty good. And I think it's a lot of there's a lot of other factors in the reason why they off the Ohio State offense looked sluggish. There was some bad weather that came in right before kickoff. Ball was kind of slick and slippery. A lot of rain in the area. So I think Ohio State kind of taking some of these earlier games a little easy, and they you heard Urban Meyer the previous week say we really respect this team. And we're gonna, game plan for them and play them tough. But I think some of the players really kind of underestimated how good NIU is. How well they can play, especially on the road. And so that was why this game was as close as it was. I think Ohio State will get back on track this week, and it's just that's a small blip in the road. But that was a bit shocking for me. Like I said, even as an NIU fan, I figured, well, yeah, they could, they can play with anybody in the country. I've always said that in the last several years, the way that they've recruited within Illinois, within the Chicagoland area, they pretty much have the same talent that would have been going to Northwestern or Illinois 10, 15 years ago. So, they might be in a smaller conference, but they recruit well enough nowadays to where they could, they've beat Big Ten opponents before, so they can give any Power Five team in the nation a real scare if they come into their building.
With and then looking at Alabama, they go down to Ole Miss. Bama, you're telling me they don't have a better quarterback than Coker? That guy is not any good. I mean, Ole Miss's defense was all over the place, but you can't tell me that they didn't. Alabama can't find a quarterback out there that's better than Coker, right?
Yeah, I know. It's just it's tough. Alabama just hasn't. I mean, when you think about Alabama, you think about they always have a strong defense. They always have a really good running game, but they never have any like amazing quarterbacks. AJ McCarron was probably their last real solid talent in that position. And I feel like looking ahead, Nick Saban's going to have to really start going outside of the box and looking for some quarterbacks. Maybe start recruiting outside of the South. As far as the quarterback position goes, maybe start getting some more West Coast, Midwest guys who play more up tempo football in high school. I know Saban's trying to he's trying to be the one coach that sticks to the ground and pound system that's been in college football forever. He's really adverse to trying to adapt the up tempo style that everyone else has seemed to pick up on and around the country. So. I think he's realized that's going to have to change if he wants to keep up with the better teams and just not only the SEC but the rest of the nation.
Yeah, I actually think Lane Kiffin. I thought he did pretty well last year as offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. I think they need to get him out of there though and bring in somebody to run a little bit of a spread type of offense, not strictly spread, but an offense with different wrinkles. Like there's not a lot of wrinkles, and like they're not going to trick you at all at Alabama. And I think that's hurt them in games like against Ohio State, this game against Ole Miss, and then those occasional games they have lost throughout Saban's run is, they've beaten people because they're more talented on the defense, on the offensive side of the ball. But the offense is pretty predictable as far as what they're going to run game in and game out.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that, like you said, they recruit well in the rest of their position. I mean, and they're one of the top recruiting tools in the nation. They have talented players that can run any offense you throw at them. But like I said, they have to get somebody in there to come up with some different formations and different sets, just kind of keep tempo with the rest of the nation as far as offenses go. Like you said, it doesn't have to be completely, strictly a spread offense or a complete air raid attack that we see from other schools, but just implement some more modern things, especially within the passing game. But you have to have the personnel for it. And like I said, receiving wise, running back wise, the offensive lines, they're solid there, but I think they needed to start really putting more emphasis into what kind of quarterbacks they bring to that program.
Yeah, I was taking, the rest of the way, I might be taking a look at every Bama game the rest of the way through the rest of the season, because either I think they're going to be close. They're not going to be, maybe against I don't even know a good example in the West, but whoever they may play, I think they're going to be pretty close spreads and pretty. I'm not going to have a problem picking Bama games, in my opinion, the rest of the way. Just the way I saw Coker play. I think next week I'll pick with Bama, but those will be interesting lines the rest of the way just off of this loss.
Yeah, just looking ahead at this week, they've got, Louisiana Monroe coming in. They're laying 38 points. And you look at the total 55. Alabama's defense is going to shut down, a Monroe team that, plays a faster offense but just doesn't have the talent. So it's a game I might want to look at probably playing on the under. I don't see Alabama, even though they're going to take their frustration out on ULM, I don't see them putting up, 55 points on their own. They might cover that 38, but I wouldn't touch that. So, yeah, like I said, there's going to be little spots and different things where Alabama would be a team to follow. You might be able to find some value, like you said, in either a side or a total or a first half, pretty much every other week with the Crimson Tide.
Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll go over some NFL lines, some college football lines that catch your eye, and best bets here on the box seats with Alex B. Smith and Bob Sullivan here on LateNightSportsRadio.com.
Don't believe you anymore. You can never turn me on. There's no more love. There's no more tears. No feelings like before. And now my heart is made of stone. And you'll never turn me on into broken-hearted lying on the floor. And now your soul is torn in two. You are lost, you are mad, feeling sad. You crazy broken dreams are never coming back. Now you see how it feels when you're down on your knees and your soul is turning two. Now you know how it feels when you're down on your knees and your heart is bleeding. Now so strong. Don't believe too. Now you know how it feels when you're down on your knees and your heart is bleeding. Now so strong. So strong.
See, I want you till so far away. I know it can't be long. Can't walk away from the things you say, the things you say. Yeah, the price you pay for them. Can't walk away from the things you say, the things you say. Yeah, the price you pay for them.
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Welcome back to the box seats here on latenightsportsradio.com. Joined again by Alex B. Smith. I'm Bob Sullivan. Alex, we are heading into 3 of the NFL, week 4 for college football. Any week 3 lines that have caught your eye this week, early on?
Other than the game I mentioned earlier with the Falcons and Cowboys, there's only been a few spots that I kind of really like here. If you look at the Eagles and Jets play this week, Jets are 2.5 point favorite. And then you have Buffalo and Miami, where Miami is a 3-point favorite. I see some 2.5 floating around there. Interesting spot for both of those teams. They have to go play in London next week, the Jets and the Dolphins. So it's weird that you have two teams playing a division game overseas. Usually kind of have it's a non-conference matchup. Last year was like Atlanta and Detroit or whatever, But this is now a fairly big game, and they're playing it, at Wembley Stadium. So I would tend to look at either playing the underdog in both of these spots with Philadelphia and Buffalo. Teams that are getting ready to go over to London do not do well in either spot, be it favorite or an underdog. It was something around 2-9-1 against the spread in the last 12 opportunities. So those are two games that I have circled. Obviously, there's issues with the Eagles. We'll see how the Bills had that tough loss against the Patriots last week, so that's a big bounce back spot for them. So I haven't fired away on those yet, but those are two games that really kind of stuck out with me.
Yeah, I was intrigued a little bit by this Houston Tampa Bay line. It's 6.5. Houston favored by 6.5 right now. In some places over Tampa Bay. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna take Tampa Bay in that. Last week I was talking about how, the whole love fest with Mariota, it wasn't going to last into week 2. He was going to have a pedestrian week. Jamarcus wasn't going to be as bad as he was in week 1. And, this week I just don't – I see that being too big of a Houston being favored by too much in that. I know Watt might feast on Jameis Winston, but I just don't see this being more than a 3-point ball game.
Yeah, I agree with you too. And you looking at just the fact of, like I said, we talked earlier. Ryan Mallett looks so bad. And it makes you wonder if he looks that bad in the first half of the game. Will he come out and Hoyer come in? Or there's just so many uncertainties with Houston on the offensive side of the ball. And like I said, Watt and Clowney are going to keep things tight on defense. So yeah, I can see where this would be, mostly a field goal game. So yeah, 6.5. There's a couple of 7s around there. Yeah, you can find some decent value with Tampa Bay.
2 monster lines this week. Seattle favored by 14.5 over Chicago, and New England 13.5 over Jacksonville. 2, those are big lines, but those are very tempting to take. New England and Seattle. Your advice, just stay away, or would you bite at either one of these right now?
No, it'd be hard pressed to ever find me laying more than double digits in the NFL at any point. And I understand why both of these numbers are set the way they are. New England, everybody loves New England. Everybody hates Jacksonville. You have the defending champions playing one of the worst teams in the league. So it's a strict power rating number, if nothing else. You look at with the Bears Seattle line. I mentioned earlier, Cutler out. Jimmy Clausen looked terrible, so he's going to be starting. Still issues with Alshon Jeffrey. Bears got to go into the tough crowd in Seattle. Seattle's desperate for a win, starting off 0-2. So, it makes sense that both these numbers are the way they are. but I'm not comfortable enough to take the points with either the Bears or the Jaguars. But I'm definitely not laying 14 and 15 points in an NFL game.
This has to be the biggest for a team that's 0-2. This has to be the biggest spread. One of the biggest spreads for an 0 team in NFL history. I can't think of another time there was a 10-point favorite for an NFL team that was 0-2. Granted, they're facing the Bears, but still.
Right, and you know what? And the thing is, if Cutler hadn't been hurt in the last game, I don't think this would be nearly in the 2 touchdown range. I think this would probably be around between 7 and 8 point favorite. And that would still draw a lot of public money. We're going to see a lot of people are going to probably tease those two teams and get that number down, within the 6 to 7, point range. So, if you're so inclined to want to play these two games, that would be the best way to tie them together in a teaser and get a lower number. But I would just stay away from both of them personally.
Are there any totals this week in any games that are tempting to you?
Well, in the NFL, leaning a little bit toward the Kansas City Green Bay that Monday night contest. I could see that just being a really big shootout, and the numbers suggest that. It's at 48.5, 49. It's just two high-powered offenses. Green Bay doesn't have the best defense in the world. So I can see where that would be a pretty tough contest. Looking at college football, though, on Thursday, you got a big AAC matchup with Cincinnati going into Memphis. This number opened at 68.5, dropped down to 65 and 65.5. Thursday college football games have been pretty much easy money with the unders. Out of the 11 games that have been played on Thursdays in college football, 8 of them have gone under the total. So that's something I have circled. I would look to play that game. I can see where both teams coming off of really tough back-to-back spots. So this probably be a closer game. You look at that line of 10. I know Memphis has a really good offense. Cincinnati's having some injury issues at quarterback, so I can see where the defense might be more of the focal point in that game. So under there would be worth taking a look at.
Any lines in college football that have caught your eye this week?
Yeah, looking at one of the spot, Navy and UConn. UConn's a really bad team. I don't understand. I don't understand how UConn, Missouri, got top billing in the morning on ESPN last Saturday. That just sounded like a bad matchup, and it ended up being even worse than we all could have imagined. This final score, 9-6. That game shouldn't have even been on television, in my opinion. So you got Navy coming in. They've got the triple option attack. It's always kind of hard to play against. UConn, they only get things done with defense. They have one of the worst offenses in the nation. And you've seen this number drop from where Navy was a 9-point favorite, going down to 6.5 and 7. It makes sense because 9 points is a lot of points to give for a team that plays. Both teams play tight defense, but I think a touchdown is worth taking a look at with Navy. I don't see Connecticut putting up a lot of points, and if they get behind a touchdown or two, 2 scores, it's going to be hard for them to even try and even things out. So that's one that stuck out with me. Another one that have circled looking playing it. We were talking about Northern Illinois earlier. They're on their 3rd straight road game. They're playing against Boston College, who had a tough battle of their own with Florida State. They lost 14-0. Both defenses looked really good, but Boston College doesn't really have that great of an offense. No. Northern Illinois they have some quality talent. 2 really good receivers. Drew Hare has been solid at quarterback. I don't think he'll make as many mistakes against this Boston College defense. So they're getting 4 points on the road. That's something I would definitely look at taking. I think that's a good spot, even though there's a conference game on deck, a conference revenge game on deck with Central Michigan next week. But I think the Huskies might be able to get the job done in Chapel Hill.
The one of the lines that's catching my eye is Auburn, Mississippi State. There's a couple of spots where it's Auburn's favored by 4, and in a lot of spots it's 2 or 2.5. I'm liking Mississippi State in that one. Auburn just looks so dysfunctional right now that I can't see I can't take them in a game right now. I would take Mississippi State. Not that Mississippi State has been world beaters or anything, but I just Auburn just looks dysfunctional on defense. Will Muschamp is still trying to get things together there on defense. I am going to take Mississippi State in this one.
Yeah, I don't blame you either. I mean, you got everybody's kind of calling it. It seems to be a bit of a panic move where Sean White is going to start this game, the redshirt freshman. Because you got Jeremy Johnson threw 6 interceptions in the last 3 games. He's just looked really shaky behind center. So they're going to go with Sean White, and a lot of people, down in the Alabama area were just kind of saying that this isn't really the time to change quarterbacks. They're saying it's kind of a panic move. So I would look at probably fading Auburn maybe the next couple of weeks. It's going to be kind of a rough road for the Tigers.
All right. Well, we're going to get into our best bets here for the week. We'll start off with good bet. What's your good bet for the week this week, Alex?
My good bet, I talked about it a little bit in a moment with Cincinnati, Memphis. Like I said, that under. That's going to be a really tough contest. Big game for Memphis at home. But Cincinnati having some issues with Gunnar Kiel. He took a huge hit last week in that rivalry win over Miami of Ohio. And that was a big game that they're coming off of as well. So potential letdown spot for Cincinnati. Even Memphis. Memphis played a really tough game against Bowling Green. They escaped with the 44-41 win. I just see this game starting off a little slower than some of the recent games Memphis has played, and I like that one under the total 65.5.
You are in love with Memphis right now.
Yeah, I like this team. I like what I'm seeing. Paxton Lynch. I think he's going to end up being a name that we hear called this spring in the draft. He's got a good frame, good size. If he lands with the right team, he could be a decent NFL quarterback. Maybe not a starter right away, but I like what I see in him. I like the speed that Memphis plays with. They have a good balance, up tempo and offense. They could, do a little better on defense at times. They can't stop some of the better offenses in the country, but now they go into conference play. They're not playing, a lot of up tempo teams. I think they'll find a way to, get some wins and make some noise in their conference.
Okay, my good bet this week is taking New Orleans. Carolina, the under. Right now I'm seeing 43. I'm going to take the under because, one, Carolina, I'm not going to take them in anything to score a lot of points. And New Orleans with a backup quarterback, it ain't going to happen. I'm going to take the under in that. That's going to be my good bet for the week.
Okay. Yeah, and I can see that, Luke McCown more than likely getting the start for New Orleans. There are some issues with Carolina. They're missing a couple players on defense, but they still have a solid enough stop unit to where they could hold Luke McCown to not too many yards and points. So that's pretty solid there. My better bet is Northern Illinois. I talked about getting 4 points, and I made a mistake earlier. I said Chapel. I meant Chestnut Hill, where Boston College plays. So I think the Huskies will, be able to match the defensive intensity with the Eagles, but their offensive power is just enough to where they should be able to win this game outright as a 4-point dog. So I'll go with the Huskies.
By the way, last week I wish I would have gone with my pick with SMU to cover against TCU with that. I think it was a 43-point spread. I wish I had gone with that, but I went against my better judgment. My better bet this week is going to be Pittsburgh favored by 1 over St. Louis. That seems a little low in my opinion. I think Pittsburgh wins this. I think they win it pretty easily. I think a 1-point spread is a little. I don't know. It's just I think it should be higher. I think it should be at least a 5-point spread here, but I'll take Pittsburgh to win that one.
Yeah, that number shocked me a little bit too. I do have that circled on my sheet. I never really get. I get St. Louis has a tough defense. They're going at home. Trying to bounce back off of a bad outing against Washington. But I think Pittsburgh's a much better team than a 1.5, 2-point swing in that opinion too. So I think that's a solid play.
Alrighty, and your best bet for the weekend?
My best bet, which I've already sent out to clients. I talked about it at the beginning of the show. The Atlanta Falcons. You can still find some 1.5s. There's a couple of ones around if you really shop around. But this line is going to keep going up and up, so get it as quickly as you can. It's gonna close around 3. It could even be 3.5 before kickoff. Too many injuries, too many key injuries for Dallas. No Romo, no Bryant. Witten having some injury issues as well. Defense looked solid, at times last week, but Atlanta's offense is just clicking on all cylinders right now. Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. This is Matt Ryan. Really couldn't be making a big splash in the MVP race, in my opinion, if he can have another big game here. So I like the Falcons to win this game by at least a touchdown.
My best bet for the weekend, Cleveland favored by 3.5 over Oakland. I'm going to take Cleveland. Oakland traveling east, 1:00 game. They, West Coast teams traditionally don't travel well to the East. I see Cleveland winning this one. Johnny Manziel, although he hasn't been great this year, he looked better in week 2. And I just see Oakland. Oakland's still trying to find themselves. I know they beat Baltimore, but I see this going Cleveland's way, and I see them winning by about 7.
Okay. All right, that's a solid play too. I mean, like I said, you can never go wrong with the cross country angle, and I know Oakland, having some issues with Carr, and Cleveland. Like I said, Cleveland's going to be playing. Once they seem to settle in, I think they're settled with Manziel. Obviously, I don't know if we're going to see. They've been talking about if McCown will be healthy enough to play, if he's going to be cleared. But I think they should just go on and stay with Manziel and just really give him a legitimate shot to see what he has. And so I think hopefully they do stick with him, and we get to finally see what Johnny Football can do with the Browns.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, Alex, do you want to tell everybody where we can find you on Twitter, the internets, all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at AXSmithSports. I know I've been talking a lot about hockey the last couple of days because I'm getting everything ready for I do my NHL season point totals report. So I'm hoping that those numbers will be coming out this week, and I'll have that up for sale at all of my websites. So that's axsmithsports.com, sportsmemo.com, kellyinvegas.com, vegasinsider.com. So everything will be clicking as far as hockey goes. And another thing that I'll talk about more next week, with October coming up, that's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'll be going pink on my website, axsmithsports.com. I'll discuss that more next week about some of the charity stuff that I'll be doing in October. So, but yeah, find me on any of those spots. Bob, what do you got going on for your show coming up this week?
This week I'll have G. Stelio Estevez on my show, Kenneth Teep, and and possibly a third guest. We'll see who that is. And then you can catch me on Johnny Bobo's show on Thursday night. I don't know what Johnny has in store yet for us, but I'm sure he'll have something well organized and well planned out for us. And you can catch that here, both of those here on LateNightSportsRadio.com. And you can catch any other Box Seats episodes on LateNightSportsRadio.com. And Alex, anything else before we get out of here?
No, sounds good. Should be some good stuff you guys doing with you can see Johnny Bobo show. You got your show coming up. So like I said, hopefully we get some winners this week in football and get back on the right track. But it should be another exciting weekend. You gotta love the weekends in the fall with all the football action.
Oh yeah, getting cooler weather and better sports coming our way than just baseball.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, yeah.
And that'll do it for the box seats here on LateNightSportsRadio.com. You can catch coming up here the whole 1005 podcast with Brandy and Robbie, and we'll see you next week on the box seats with Alex B. Smith and Bob Sullivan.